welcome back. Happy afternoon. Welcome to another edition of Driving with Dan. A little late afternoon or early afternoon edition. Driving home from work. Feeling pretty good. Enjoying the last of the sunshine before this weather kicks in tomorrow. Anyway, wanted to do a little video on a saying God said to us. I've been talking to a couple people and watched a couple things on different commandments of God, and then somebody sent me a video today of a video about Jesus, about the image of Jesus. It was to stare at this thing and then for a few seconds and then to look away and start blinking and you'll see Jesus. And of course, I did it and it worked, but it always brings to mind, I want to say it's in Exodus, I think it's 24, chapter 20, verse 4, where it says, God says not to make any image, any graven image of anything in heaven, on earth, or under the water, of iron, of stone, of wood. So pretty much to have, it's talking about idols, about not making or having any idols. Throughout the Bible, there's many references to idolatry. I mean, as we know, God hates idolatry. Many died from idolatry. Many will die from idolatry. So, like I said, the God of the Old Testament, God of the New Testament, they're the same. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. It's the same God. What he hated then, he hates now. The big thing about the graven image of Jesus, and I've thought long and hard about this. I've had a couple conversations with some people I consider to be very knowledgeable in the Bible. And we've discussed this, and we tend to agree. Why? I want to say that one of the biggest reasons God tells us not to do this, not just for the idolatry reason of it, but for deception. A lot of what God talks about is to not be deceived. Jesus, he's all about telling us not to be deceived. So if everybody has this idea, this picture in their head of what Jesus looks like, right? I mean, this picture has been just jammed into our head for as long as you've probably heard of Jesus. You've got this image of him, and the image is pretty much the same no matter where you go. Well, if you think about where this image came, where it started from, the roots of it, it comes from the early church, comes from Catholicism. Every denomination has the same image, but here we are. We're told not to have any graven images of anything in heaven, anything on earth, or anything under the water. Now, of course, this day and age, it's kind of hard to get away from graven images. Sorry, I got some dirt in my eye. The thing about them is, I guess it's fine to have, a statue, or I don't want to say a statue, a picture on your wall, a cross or something like that. But it's talking about not worshiping it. So if you have a picture of Jesus you're not to look at it and worship it. I wear a cross. There's parts of Christianity that no crosses, nothing, because it's idolatry. In actuality, it is. But I wear my cross, and if I'm struggling or having a hard time or whatever, I just kind of hold it and I put it in my hand. And I don't think about the cross per se. I think about what Jesus did on the cross, and that's my whole point for wearing it and for having it. And I don't have one in the car, but I do have one in my work truck. Got one in my other truck. But when I look at the cross, I'm not looking at that piece of wood or that piece of iron or whatnot. And I'm not saying, oh, cross, you're so great. It reminds me of the promise that God gave us by giving his only son, and the pain and suffering and torture that Jesus went through for all of us to forgive our sins. His death on the cross was the greatest thing man or anybody could have given anybody. There's no gift that can top it. I don't care who you are or what you say, none. So when I look at a cross, that's what I think of. When I hold mine, that's what I'm picturing in my mind, is what Jesus went through and the gift that he gave us, the promise he made to us. So in that case, I'm not worshiping the cross. I'm just thinking and bringing into mind what happened on the cross. But when it comes to Jesus and the image of it, my problem with it, and my friends who I've talked to, and even a couple strangers, I wouldn't call them strangers, just acquaintances that I don't know very well, but I've had conversations on. In fact, one who sent me a video today. People, they have this picture of Jesus. So, during the end times, Jesus is going to come back. He's going to defeat death, and everything's going to be grand and great, right? Well, the Antichrist, and I believe the Antichrist is a system, because it is, but I'm not saying there won't be a figure, an Antichrist figure. There very well may be, most likely will be. And I believe, and I'm not alone in this, that the Antichrist figure is going to look either identical or very similar to the picture, the image that everybody has of Jesus. I believe that is the reason why this version of Jesus is pushed, and why it's in every denomination and so coveted by the Catholic Church and Mormonism and all these different denominations. Because of that, I mean, nobody questions it. Everybody says Jesus, and the picture of Jesus is the same. I mean, the Mormons, they worship a different Jesus because he's not the same one of the Christian Bible. Catholicism, well, Jesus is only secondary to Mary, but the pictures are all the same. How he is and what he does and how he acts and, his might and his worth, that might change, but his image is the same. That doesn't sit too right with me and with others, because, well, if Jesus has different qualities, then he's probably going to look different in my sense, my mind, okay? So my big belief is, because this image is pushed so hard and everywhere, no matter where you look, in the world of Christianity, false Christianity, and in the world of, I don't even want to say Bible believers, because I can't put it that way. We'll just put it in Christianity. This same picture of Jesus is used. So, this great man comes back, this being comes back, starts doing these signs and wonders, preaching the gospel. He's holy and good, and everybody, he's claiming himself to be Jesus, and oh my gosh, he looks just like Jesus. How many people are going to flock to him? Because there's tons of people who have said, I'm Jesus. I mean, there's a guy in Israel right now, or I don't think he's calling himself Jesus, but you've got people all over the place. I'm Jesus. I'm Jesus. I'm the second coming. They look nothing like him. Now, let's change that and say somebody who looks just like Jesus starts saying he's Jesus and actually has some kind of power. Ooh, that's going to throw some people. Some people are going to be following him, and you're going to see Christians gathering. Even though, I don't care, this guy didn't rip open, he didn't come on a horse and doesn't have his army with him, army of angels, but, hey, he's over in, Kentucky, and saying he's Jesus, or, France or something, wherever, and people are just flocking to him, because he's Jesus, he looks just like him, and he's doing things, he's doing miracles, he's healing people, I'm not going to say raising people from the dead, but that's a possibility, but he's doing these signs and wonders and these miracles. Man, that is going to fool a lot of people. A lot of people. So I just want you to consider this. We're told not to have graven images because of idol worship. I also believe we're told not to have graven images because of the great deception in itself, but more than that, the great deception. The final deception from Satan. The Antichrist system, the mark of the beast, all of that. And I really believe that this version of Jesus is going to come into play. If you look hard enough, and you used to be able to find it in, I believe it was the Vatican or St. Peter's Basilica, one of them, they had a letter from Pontius Pilate. And in this letter of Pontius Pilate, it described Jesus. Now, I know people. There's a lot of debate on this. There's actually 2 or 3 different letters describing Jesus. You can't find any of them anymore. I mean, like in person. You might be able to find them online with some digging, because it's not so easy anymore. But in this letter from Pontius Pilate, it described Jesus as a man with what's it say? Snow white hair and beard, snow white, with very palish, flushed skin. Well, Jews, especially Jews back then, dark, because they're dark in the sun all the time. I don't want to hear a single racist thing, because it has nothing to do with racism, all right? I'm just describing what the letter describes. Pretty much, it described a very palish white person, Caucasian, whatever you want to call it, with flushing or blushing cheeks and blonde hair and beard. That's Pontius Pilate's description. Now, this is a letter that was proven to be from Pontius Pilate. Well, the man didn't meet Jesus. He condemned him. Passed him back over to the Jews, but he was the one who crucified him. So, I'm trying to think of the other one, where the other one was at, but I know it was a few years back that I read of it, and it was the same thing, but it described, snow white hair and beard, and flushing. This one said flushing skin. So like a reddish, because of being in the sun. Take a redhead, put them out in the sun or something like that, and how their skin flushes. That was pretty much the description. I only say this because we all have to use discernment, correct? Discernment is key. So we need to really think about anytime there might be discrepancy in how things are described, even if it's just 1 or 2. And of course, God says, Jesus says, takes 2 or 3 witnesses. In the eyes of 2 or 3 witnesses, that's how we prove something to be correct. Well, I know I've personally seen 3 different letters or writings describing Jesus, and they all pretty much describe the same thing. Now, I know it's extremely hard. You might still be able, I should look when I'm done, but I should have looked before. But you used to be able to find them a few years back. You really can't anymore. It takes a lot of digging. You might be able to find, still might be able to find Pilate's description maybe, but it's getting much harder. Something to really keep in mind. Also, Jesus was a Nazarene, correct? So, knowing that he was from a Nazarene, they were known to be a lighter-skinned people, and I'm not saying white, but a lighter-skinned. So there may be something to this, folks. I'm just something to keep in your mind. Okay, we're told not to have a graven image, in Exodus 20, chapter 20, verse 4. And here we are, everywhere plastered in the Christian world is this same depiction of what they say Jesus is supposed to look like. And something that really dug in my side not too long ago, a week or so, maybe 2, AI did this thing with the Shroud of Turin, and it verified what Jesus looked like. Now, there's a lot of debate behind the Shroud of Turin. I'm sure anybody who knows about it knows. So take it for what it's worth. And I'm not sure how you feel about AI. I know I have my feeling or my thoughts on it. Of course, I have my thoughts on everything. But I'm not a big believer or someone who's going to really be using AI if I don't have to. Okay, because I believe AI. Well, one, I know it's not good. It's going to be the death of man. One of them. But if AI confirms something, then in myself, for myself, it just confirms what I'm already thinking. I believe AI is part of the deception. I believe AI is part of Satan. I believe it deals with the quantum world, the spirit world. So, in fact, many conversations of people I've had with AI has gone that route. They have straight said Nephilim spirits. It's shady, to put it simple. All right, it's shady. So the fact that AI confirmed the Shroud of Turin, in fact, shows Jesus depicted as Jesus is depicted. That's just another notch on my nope, not going there thing. That's on that list of, yeah, I ain't buying it. So just really use discernment within yourself and contemplate this. Don't just come at me, oh, you're wrong, you're racist, you're whatever. I'm none of those. I mean, I'm wrong at times, sure, but I'm just asking you to think. The thing between your ears, use it, and just contemplate different ideas, because everything happens for a reason, all right? And if God says not to do something, there is a very, very good reason for him to say that. I mean, it's more than him just hating idols. Idolatry leads you away from God, and this is why he says this. And it also, it leads you away from God by deception. So these things go hand in hand, folks. So it's just something to really keep in mind, and I really believe we should really look deeply into. So do yourself a favor, do some looking, do some digging, do some just thinking, sit there, if you want to, get in Exodus, read that part again, and ask the Holy Spirit what it can show you, or what he can show you, and then discern for yourself and contemplate with God, and then I'm not asking anybody to take my word for it or to believe me. I just want you to think about it and really, really think about it. Don't just go with the flow of everybody else, because there's reasons for everything God does, and there's a reason why he's telling us not to have graven images. I'm just really, really trying to look out for others. I don't want anybody to be deceived. We are in that 11th hour. We are in that time of deception. We're in the lukewarm church. We're right there on the verge, folks. I mean, no, I'm not a death cult end of times type. Yes, we're in the end of times, but so a lot of things are going to happen. But I'm not like say, oh, run and hide, stop living your life. No, live your life, because if you walk with Jesus, sure, things are going to get bad, but the day of glory is coming. So if you truly walk with Jesus, you're not afraid of the end times. We're gonna be persecuted. A lot's gonna happen to true believers, but those who stand true to the end will be rewarded. And there's no better reward than being in the new earth, the new heaven with Jesus, walking with him. So folks, there's nothing to be afraid of. There's nothing to fret over, nothing to worry about. You just put your trust and faith into God, and he's going to see you through. But you really have to, with your heart, with all of you, all of what you are, you got to have faith. And that's really the point of all my messages, is to truly, truly believe in God, that he's going to see you through. And then to really listen to him. When he says don't do something, don't do it. And sure, it's really tough this day and age. I understand it. And who wants to walk into a house, there's nothing on the walls? If you have images of something, a cross you wear or on your wall, just don't worship the cross. If that's a reminder to you for what Jesus did, I'm sure there's not a problem with it. Don't treat these images as idols. And I think that's my gist of it. Because I can't tell you don't wear a cross. I wear one myself. But I already told you why and what I do with it. I hope this helps, and I hope this gets through to somebody. I think this is a very important message, and of course everything God says is important and has a reason. So take some time, think about this, talk to God, ask him, ask the Holy Spirit, and he will guide you to the correct answer. And just remember, if you hear Jesus is over there or Jesus is over here, don't believe it, because when Jesus returns, everybody will see it and everybody will know it. That sky will rip open and he will come thundering down. Nobody's going to miss it, folks. So don't believe any false Jesus. He's here, he's there. It's not Jesus. I hope everybody's had a great day. Hope you enjoy your evening. I truly love y'all. God bless each and every one of you. Stay in the Word. Stay true to Jesus. Walk that narrow path.